Yo, in this video I am going to show you how to handle the price objection on your agency's sales calls. It's literally like almost 2 AM in the night. I have a super early morning tomorrow. I am taking a boat to Finland like I do almost every single week, and I need to get to bed, you know, I need to be sleeping. But I was just reviewing one of our mastermind members. If you don't know, we have this mastermind called velocity.io, and I was just reviewing one of our members' sales process or sales call. And they were working or trying to work with this one company, and they get hit with a price objection. And I was reviewing this and I saw that the person, the member, had completely mishandled this price objection, which led to a really bad outcome and led them losing the deal, or even being in a position that even if they win the deal, it's not really a beneficial deal. So when you run an agency, when you try to close deals, when you try to increase your prices, sell big boy shit, you're gonna get price objections from companies. And most people handle these price objections wrong. And even if you sign deals, you are signing them at a discounted rate, you're giving discounts, you're getting absolutely messed up in the sales process, you're signing bad deals and all these things. And in this video, I'm just gonna show you how to handle it. I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. I literally just like reviewed the call or reviewed the process, and I was like, holy shit, a lot of people are doing this. I need to record a YouTube video about this. So none of you absolutely beautiful killers make this mistake. Yeah. So what we need to understand is when we run an agency, once again, this doesn't really matter what kind of an agency you run. You can run a B2B lead generation agency, growth marketing agency, copywriting agency, SEO agency, email marketing agency, website agency, whatever agency you run. This will always apply. And this is stuff that I started applying and learned to apply like 8 years ago when I first started in sales. So if you don't know, I have been in sales for like since I was 16 for like 8 years. I have built countless of sales teams from 0 to like 10, 15, 20 people. I've generated millions and millions and millions of dollars through sales, coached hundreds of sales reps, and yeah, just done a lot of stuff in sales in B2B and B2C. So this is what I have done every single time when I get hit with a price objection. So let's say you are here, boom, this is you. Amazing, you look handsome as ever, you're happy, you are closing, you have just watched the latest motivational Jordan Belfort sales motivation Wolf of Wall Street video, and you're like, okay, I'm ready to fucking straight line close, Stratton Oakmont myself out of here. I'm ready to absolutely rip it. So I go to your meeting and you present your price. And let's say in this scenario, your price is $3,000 a month. You sell whatever, doesn't really matter. You sell something for $3,000 a month. And then you have your prospect here. I'm gonna draw the prospect in a different color because, you know, just for sake of, I don't know. So you have your prospect here, prospective buyer. And the prospective buyer sees your price and they jump on their stairs. They're like, holy fuck, $3,000. What is this? I don't have the money. I'm not paying that much. Fuck you, go to hell. What are you even trying to do? And this crushes your soul and you're like, oh, this is terrible. I don't know what to do. Maybe I should give a discount. So the prospect jumps at you and they yell out, hey, this price is too much. We are not paying this much. We're not paying this price that you're who do you think you are? You're not worth $3,000 a month. We are paying some other person $1,000 a month and they're getting the same results. Blah, 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 blah. You know, they start barking at your price. So what most people do here, the most natural reaction is thinking, okay, the price is too much. I really want to work with this prospect. I really want to get a deal here. I want to get some experience. I want to get my case that I want to get blah, 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 whatever. And you're like, okay, sir, prospect, Mr. Grateful, Honorable Prospect, all hail to the prospect. It's not $3,000, it's $2,000. Is this okay? And the prospect is, I want to guarantee, I want to do only rev share, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this and that. And they keep barking at you, so you just keep dropping and dropping and dropping your price. And then at some point, you come to the negotiation like standpoint and you agree on a price, let's say $1,500 a month. And you're like, okay, I'll do it for 1.5K. It's not as much as I wanted, but at least I closed. I closed this deal, I handled this objection. But the truth is that you didn't close anything. You didn't handle an objection, you didn't close a deal, you fucking submitted to the prospect's commands. You made an absolute fool of yourself and you left crazy amount of money on the table. In most cases, in some cases, it doesn't always happen, but you just dropped your price. You didn't do any sales. That wasn't sales. That wasn't negotiation. You just bent over and gave the prospect exactly the price that you wanted, you know? And you might think, oh, next time I'll just price higher, so then when I drop my price, I'll just be able to negotiate it down, and I'll just ask for $4,000 next time, and then I can drop it to $2,000. It's gonna be still fine. But this is not the right way to do sales. You're not selling anything. You're not doing any sales. You're not doing any closing or any objection handling. This is just a cheap negotiation haggling tactics that you see at the carpet market in the Turkish bazaar, you know? This is what you do when you go on a holiday on Thailand and the guy on the street just, good price for you, buy watch, buy Rolex. And you're like, 10, 20, 10, 20, you know, and you go back and forth. That's not sales, that's just cheap negotiation and haggling. Not a good business practice. So what we need to understand first is the fundamental reason for a price objection. Where do these price objections come from? And the price objection can be split into two different categories. There's two types of price objections, you know? And we need to really understand which one of these price objections it is, because these have a huge consequence or huge tactical implication, if you want to use a fancy word, on how we handle the objection. First one is it can be price logistical. It can be a logistical price objection, meaning that just logistically, the price is too much for the prospect. The prospect just doesn't have the logistic capabilities to pay the price that you quoted. Maybe they don't have the money. They are just not generating enough of revenue. Maybe they don't have the cash flow. So they on paper they have the money, but they just don't have the cash liquid to pay for it right now. Or maybe they just don't have the authority to authorize a payment that big. Let's say they are working in a big corporation and they are a sales director buying a lead generation service, and the sales director can only spend $2,000 a month on marketing services or sales and marketing and lead generation services. So it's just above the threshold that they can authorize, so it's too high of a price. But the main thing that you need to understand that the one reason that someone can come up with a price objection is because it is logistically not possible for them to pay. And then the other version of this, or the other reason, what the fuck is this arrow? The other version why someone can come with a price objection is because fear. So there's two price objections. There's price fear, price logistics. And these come from different places. Price fear means that they are afraid of something. They have some kind of a fear, and it doesn't have to be concretely fear every single time. This is just a term that I use, but I could say price trust or price understanding or price confusion or whatever. But main thing is, the main learning things here that we need to understand is either prospect doesn't trust you. I'm going to make this a bit bigger. So this prospect doesn't trust you. The prospect doesn't trust themselves. Prospect doesn't understand the solution. So there's confusion. A confused prospect never buys. Or, damn, this is terrible. or the prospect doesn't see the value in the offer. There's a discrepancy. Like there always has to be this, like every single time when you're selling something, if you're selling something for $3,000, the prospect has to value this. There has to be a perceived value that is higher. In the prospect's mind, this has to be a higher value, you know? It has to be worth $4,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 or $30,000 a month for them, you know? They need to think, okay, hey, if I pay for this $3,000 a month service, it's probably going to generate around $30,000. It's a good investment. But if in the prospect's mind, the perceived value of your service or your offer is lower than what you're quoting them, they don't see the value. And they will never buy, of course, that, because no one fucking buys shit they don't see the value of. The other reason it could be that the prospect doesn't understand the solution. So this is really common when we go into more complex, unique mechanisms or more complex mechanisms of delivery. When you start to use more complex piece of the process to get results for your customers, when you use sales letters or funnels or anything that the prospect doesn't have awareness or sophistication around. If you're introducing new technology to someone and they have never heard of it, and you haven't educated on them, they're not going to understand it. Like, let's say I'm selling cold email lead generation as a service. This used to happen a lot a few years ago. I would just I would be dumb, and I would not understand the sophistication scale of the prospect, and I wouldn't understand really even this factor at all. So I would start talking about, hey, yeah, we do cold email, and we buy domains, and we set up DMARC. Back in the day when we really had to set up DMARC manually, we set up DMARC, we set up DKIMF and SPF records, and then we go and we scrape some leads, and we double verify those leads, and then we like inbox rotate and send these leads and send them to the Unibox and or master inbox back in the day. And the prospect would be like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? I didn't understand a single word that you just said, which means I am confused, which means I'm not buying. And in a lot of cases, these prospects, if you're really messing up your pitch and you're over complexifying it, that's probably not the word. You're making it overly complex. And it is above their sophistication stage. And they just don't understand what you're saying. They probably are not going to tell you, hey, John, I don't really understand what you're saying, because no one wants to feel dumb. They're afraid that they're going to feel dumb. So they're just going to tell you, the price is too high for us. So it's a smokescreen. Or they don't see the value. They're like, yeah, the price is not, I don't want to pay that price. There's also sometimes the prospect doesn't trust themselves. If you're selling a process that involves a lot of work from the prospect side, so let's say they have to take the sales call, let's say you're selling B2B lead generation, and big part of your ROI argument is their closing rate, they might not trust themselves. So let's say you say, hey, I am going to book you calls and you're going to pay me $300 per call, you know? And if I book you 10 calls a month, and your closing rate is 20%, this means that you are gonna get 2 clients a month. And these 2 clients, based on your average lifetime value that you told me in the discovery call, is, let's say your average client is worth $10,000. This would mean that you would make $20,000 from these calls. Damn, my mouse is lagging. You would make $20,000 from these calls, and you're only paying $3,000 for these calls. You know? So there is my ROI argument. You pay me $3,000, you get back $20,000. So if the prospect doesn't trust that they can actually fulfill on their end of the need and get 20% closing rates, if they are not confident in their sales capabilities or whatever, they're of course not also going to buy, because then the ROI argument falls down. It's like, what if their closing rate is 5%? The ROI is really, really small there, and it's really thin. It's a really risky investment. So sometimes the prospect doesn't trust their own capabilities and skills inside their organization. And the last thing is, and this is the most common one, is that the prospect doesn't trust you. There is just not enough of status and trust and rapport built between you and the prospect. You know, maybe you gave off a bad first impression. Maybe you did something to show them that, hey, you are not trustworthy. Maybe you showed up to the call late. Maybe you are looking sloppy. Maybe you have a messy background. Maybe your beard is untrimmed. Maybe your hair is fucked up, whatever. Some people like lose trust over that. If I go to a sales meeting and the guy looks like he just came from under the bridge, I'm not going to buy. It doesn't convey trust. I only work with professionals. If the guy doesn't look like a professional or the girl doesn't look like a professional, I'm not going to work with them. So sometimes you can lose trust really easily. Sometimes prospects are just really skeptical. Maybe they have been burned past. They have been burned in the past by a different agency, or maybe they just have a really high buying temperature. Maybe they just need a lot of conviction to trust you. You know, so there's all of these different things that can create the logistical or fear objection. You know, and we need to understand where the prospect is coming from. And the longer you do this, and more calls you take, and more you study the world of sales and marketing, and these different prospect types and personalities, the easier you're going to be able to spot this. When you get the price objection, you're going to know automatically, okay, this is coming from the place of logistics because they mentioned this and this and this factor, and their metrics are this and this and this. I know they just don't have the money, or they just don't have the cash flow. You know your niche. You're like, okay, this person probably doesn't have the money. Or, hey, I think that I'm sensing from this that I messed up on the pitch. Their sophistication is clearly way lower on this topic. So I should just explain this in a simpler terms. But we need to understand where it's coming from. And a lot of cases, the prospect is going to be throwing a lot of smoke screens, a lot of false objections to not admit their true fears and true reasons. Logistical reasons are usually pretty easy. Usually people are pretty upfront about this. They just tell you, They might be embarrassed that they don't have the money, so they might give you a smoke screen anyways, and they might tell you, I will have to think about it, I'll have to talk to my business partner, I'll have to do this and I'll have to do that. In a lot of cases, logistical objections are pretty clear. You can just say, hey, okay, how many clients are you signing this month, or how many this, or what is your current monthly revenue, or what is your budget for this, or whatever. And we'll find out the logistical reasons really easily. And usually, when you get a logistical objection, logistical price objection, usually you either have two ways to handle it. Either you just straight up disqualify them. So let's say they tell you, like a great example of this is you're selling B2B lead generation, you're charging them per call prices. And once again, this can work whatever business you run. But you have some kind of performance-based offer and you say like, hey John, like you're telling me that the price is too high, but here, when we really clearly look at the data, you told me that you have a 20% closing rate. You told me that one client is worth $10,000 for you. And I told you that I can book you 10 calls. So if this all comes true, like, isn't this a really cheap investment? You're paying $3,000 to make $20,000. Isn't the price pretty good? So is it more so, like, could the issue be here? Like, John, just walk me through this. Just help me understand. Could it more so be on the fact that there is that maybe you don't have the cash flow to pay for it up front? Maybe it would be more beneficial for you to first make this money and then pay because you don't have the cash flow to pay this up front. And like, yeah, we don't have cash flow. And usually you can also tell this, like if they really negotiate, haggle on like rev share deals and shit like this, they usually just miss that they don't have the cash flow. They just are trying to get some free work done up front. You can tell the cash flow issues from really far away. And in those cases, I just recommend you disqualify them immediately. But if you're really, really keen on the prospect and if you have really high trust that they're actually really committed on this, you can also go ahead and create a different kind of pricing solution. So let's say they don't have the money right now, or let's say that they don't have the cash flow. You can come up with a payment plan. Like, okay, John, instead of you paying $3,000 a month, let's say that you only pay me $1,000 for the first month. And then after we have generated you the first $10,000, and you start getting some cash flow in from this, we move to the $3,000 a month retainer, because then you're just paying from the money that you're making you know? So you're not taking it out of your pocket, you're taking it from the money that we are making you. So should we do that or whatever? Of course, this has a lot more risk for you because the prospect might not be committed or whatever. But if you are truly certain that it is a logistical reason and you still want to work with them, you can come up with a different pricing structure. But when it's about fear, it gets a bit more trickier, because a lot of the fears that people have, they are not willing to admit, or they might not even be aware of them themselves, you know? So you need to start walking them through here, you know? You need to start walking through them, and you want to start like, either if you are not 100% sure where this is coming from, you want to start like figuring out one by one and just removing these possibilities. A really easy possibility is like, does the prospect understand the solution? It's like asking them questions about the solution. So what do you think is the most important, interesting part about this? Or if you could change something, what would you change? Or what did you think about this? Have you used this? How have you used this? How would you use this inside your organization? You can start asking about it, see if they understand the solution, or you can just try to go and explain it in a simpler way just to be safe, you know? Prospect doesn't trust themselves. Once again, we come back here to your ROI argument, whatever the ROI argument is. Okay, John, so do you think that this is going to be an accurate number? What variables do you think contribute to this number? In what scenarios do you think that this number wouldn't be achievable? Do you think that there's any possibilities that we could go lower with this number? You know, and you're able to see how hesitant they are when talking about this one metric that is, or this one variable that is on their part, and in some cases it might be wrong. Do you think that you are not able to do this fast enough? Do you think that you're not able to do this at a high enough quality? Do you think that you have the skills in house to complete this part, your part of the agreement, or whatever? Prospect doesn't trust you. This is usually a bit trickier because they usually don't tell you this. So what I like to do is I like to do something called looping. And this is something that I learned from Jordan Belfort some years ago. And pretty much when you ask for the deal, you get a no, you clarify objection, or you get the objection out. I always take them like handle objection, and then you loop more info, you give them more information, and you ask for the deal again. And the reason why we're giving more information is we're trying to increase the trust. We talk about past clients, we talk about past results, we talk about the company history, we talk about you, we talk about how it applies to them, we talk about the intricacies of the process, depending on how technical the prospect is or what is their buying persona. But we're just looping them through more information, increasing their trust to this and answering different questions that they might have, you know? But the main thing that I want you to understand here is every single time when you get a price objection, you never want to just like default to the activity of dropping your price. Like, oh, fucking, you just will get it for cheaper. Because what happens then is if the prospect has a logistical issue with the price, yeah, it's probably going to work, it's probably going to be fine. But if the prospect has a fear objection, they don't trust you or they don't trust themselves, whatever, even if you drop the price, it doesn't solve the main core issue. You know, let's say that they don't trust you at all and they're like, okay, I'm just gonna fucking propose an absolute fuck you deal for this person. I'm gonna tell this agency dude that, hey, we will do this if we work on rev share, you know? Just because then we have nothing to lose and we don't have to really pull through it. And then you agree on the rev share deal, like, okay, sure, let's do rev share. Let's do this, let's do 0 upfront commitment, let's do that, let's do this. You give them the absolute beauty of a deal that they wanted. And then they still don't trust you, because obviously dropping your price doesn't make them trust you more. It probably actually makes them trust you less. And then you start working on rev share, boom, 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 and they don't trust you at all, so they're not committed, so they're not going in full effort, so you just do a lot of work and you never get paid in rev share. And this goes the same way if you drop your price. Let's say you slash your price from 3K to 1.5K a month, and they just take this deal. They don't trust you, but they just want to try it out because they got it for 50% off, and they're not really committed. They're not gonna go all out. If you ask for them any assets or you do any onboarding calls or you do anything with them, it's like they're not really gonna be all out on it. You're not gonna get good results. They're gonna churn. You're gonna put a lot of energy into it. You're never gonna get that case study. It's gonna be a terrible experience. So when you get price objections, first, do your best to identify, is it a logistical? Is it actually just about the money? You can just straight up ask them, John, if there was no price attached to this, if I was doing this for free, if the price wasn't in question, would you tell me that you want to do it? And they're like, yes, amazing. So John, am I understanding this correctly? The only reason why you are not going for the solution is because you logistically can't pay for this price. You can't pay this price in logistical reasons, or like logistically you can't pay this price. Like, yeah, okay, amazing. Is it more so the whole amount? Is it the amount that you just don't have the money to pay for this? Or is it more so the problem that you don't have the liquidity, the cash flow to sustain this retainer, or sustain this money, or the pay up front for this performance deals, whatever. And then they tell you either yes or no or whatever. And then you can start creating the payment plan from there, or the different payment options or different pricing models if you still want to work with the prospect. Or fear, and you can start mapping this out in order. Amazing, John. John. So as we can see from here, from the ROI argument or whatever ROI calculation that we have made, or whatever is the basis of your pricing, however you base your pricing, as we can see, everything here makes the sense. Like from the actual pricing standpoint, it makes sense. You're paying $3,000 for $20,000, or let's say you're running ads, you're paying us this amount of money, and we guarantee that you make this amount of money, or whatever. Our case studies show that you make this amount of money, or this is the estimated revenue that we make. If you can just get this one variable improved by this, you will make this amount of money, whatever. Like, what is just help me walk you through this. Is it this metric? Is it this metric? Or don't you think that we can get this? Don't you think we can get this? Do you think that this is inaccurate? And you can just start excluding and doubling down on things that you see from the prospect and try to identify this, and then loop them more information to increase trust. Either demonstrate the value better. Like sometimes the prospect tells you, yeah, we're not going to pay upfront because we already have a partner that gives us leads completely on rev share. Like we only pay him rev share. We already have a different partner. We get leads from them on rev share. Okay, amazing. Why won't you just do that more? Why would you even think about working with me if you already have this lead generation partner that you only pay on rev share? Why would you even think about working with me? You're pushing them away a bit. You're disqualifying them. And you're making them sell themselves to you if they want to keep working with you. And then they're either going to say, yeah, that is true. We should just do that more. Or they're going to say, it's really not scalable. We can't get any more leads from that person, or it's not scalable. It's not doing something that we want to do right now. Okay, amazing. Could you just get more of these partners? Yes, we could. Okay, maybe we'll go do that. Or in most cases, they're going to say, no, we can't. It's really hard to find these people. Okay, amazing. So why does it even matter then? You know, I understand that you have had a great experience with a revenue share only lead generation partner in the past, but as we both know right now, it's not really scalable. And obviously, if you want to get access to these higher quality leads or these scalable lead generation methods, the pricing model is going to be a bit different because there's also different work included. So you have to pay a bit upfront, you know, and you can go from there, you know. But I'm not going to yap about here for the whole night about specific objection handlers, because obviously every single industry, every single niche, every single offer, every single mechanism, every single service, everything has different objections and different specifics that it comes to objection handling. But I just think that this is really important concept for everyone to understand, so we're able to be aware of these two different price objections in your sales calls when you get them. And also you understand that dropping your price isn't handling objections. You know, you're not handling objection by making it cheaper. You're just being cheaper, you know. Amazing. I'm gonna go to sleep, so I make my boat tomorrow, but check the links in the description, check everything, boom, 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 like, subscribe, comment, blah, 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 blah.